It is another crazy week in the world of New York sports. It's going to be a whole lot of Jets tonight. We're talking Dalvin Cook. We're talking ESPN positional rankings. I got a whole lot to say about that. We'll talk a little One Jets Drive, Hard Knocks. I got a couple other topics in mind as well. All that and more right now. It's Wednesday Night Live. I'm Wat2K99, and let's get this show on the road. Well, welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I'm Wat2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Here it is. It is episode 7 of Wednesday Night Live with Wat2K99. Hopefully, a whole lot more to come. I'm really happy to be here, and I got a whole lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. We will be doing some Jets trivia at the end, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. I got a good one for you guys tonight. But we're going to do the most important thing we do, and I want to spend a minute and acknowledge a few people here in the chat. The first one here was Jets Mess. Always good to see my pal. Hey, my fellow A-team member. Yep, he is most definitely that. He's been very, very loyal. He's been here pretty much since the beginning, and I thank him very much for his support. Hank G, man, he is everywhere. There's hardly a show you won't find Hank G. If it's like Jets related, man, Hank G is there. He is always there. He's a loyalist. You can count on Hank G to show up. Johnny Jimenez, man, he's taking his act all over the place. I saw him today with Jake Asman and Robbie Sabo. You know, Johnny's like rubbing elbows. He's like rubbing elbows with the Rat Pack now. But I'm glad that you took the time to remember the regular folks like me. So, Johnny, my fellow Virginia Jets fan, it's good to see you, my friend. I hope the family is doing fantastic. John Nolte, he knows how much I appreciate him and the support and the feedback he's given me over the last week or two. I'm glad he's found the show. Keep spreading the word, buddy. I appreciate all that you're doing, and I'm going to keep giving you the best content that I've got to give. I just realized I have the same wicker chair. Do you know? You have this chair? You have this build up? Here we go. Here's a full look at the wicker chair, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. We may not have millions of subscribers just yet, but we got the chair. And apparently only Johnny Jimenez it has the other one that still exists in the world. The other two, who knows where they went. John Post from Pure Adrenaline Sports. Have a great stream. We'll watch replay when done with Angels Rangers. Well, that's a pretty good game to be watching. I'm sure. Isn't it amazing how Max Scherzer is just looking like his old self since leaving the Mets? Should any of us be surprised that Max Scherzer is throwing like 7 innings, no hits allowed? It's really unbelievable. Johnny, you can actually find my email if you go to my channel page. My email is listed there under the About section, but I will put my I'll type it real quick here into the chat. Okay, so if you want to reach out to me, if anybody wants to reach out to me personally, Wat2K99@gmail.com. And believe me, that email address goes back a long way before I was ever on YouTube, I can assure you. The Game of Thrones wicker chair, I keep forgetting who said it. It was either Buffalo Jets fan or I think it was Tigo. It was one of the two of them who said, I think I'm going to move out of the way so you can really get it, that this is probably the chair that George Washington used to floss his teeth on. It was always one of my favorite lines that I ever heard. It was absolute genius. All right, guys, so here's the deal. We're going to do our 3 and out as we always do. Then we're going to get into a whole lot of football talk. I really want to focus on the Jets right now because what do you expect me to talk about? The Women's World Cup, England versus Australia, great game, but I don't think I'm going to be getting into that too much today. So I'm going to start with baseball, and I'm going to start specifically with Angel Hernandez, the absolute worst umpire in all of baseball. So he lost on Tuesday his racial discrimination lawsuit against Major League Baseball when a federal appeals court refused to reinstate his case. So Hernandez was born in Cuba, hired as a big league umpire in 1993. He sued Major League Baseball in 2017, being employed for 24 years. He still is employed, by the way. He alleged that he was being discriminated against. And why? Because he had not been assigned to the World Series in 12 years. He'd been passed over promotions to crew chief. Hernandez also claimed that Joe Torre, MLB executive at the time, who made a lot of major decisions over umpires, held animosity dating back to when Joe Torre was managing the Yankees. Here's the bottom line about Angel Hernandez. For any of you who may not be a big baseball fan, Angel Hernandez is the worst umpire this side of Stevie Buckner. Okay, I'll put this in a football term that everybody can understand. He is the Brian Hoyer of umpires. Okay, he has managed to stick around for decades while always doing a lousy job, and everybody knows he does a lousy job. It's been this way for years. 2001, Steve McMichael, God bless him, is doing the seventh inning stretch at Wrigley Field, and he takes the time to call out Angel Hernandez, for making a stupid call, and Hernandez just glares right back at McMichael in the box. He let that bother him. Okay, he had 3 calls at first base overturned in video reviews during Game 3 of the 2018 AL Division Series with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Even this past Saturday, Yankees versus Marlins. There's this website called Umpire Auditor. Okay, they also have a Twitter account. They rate umpires every day. Hernandez is behind the plate. They rated that he had 15 missed ball strike calls. 15 of them! Come on. He's last in baseball among correct call rate among all umpires, according to this website. He's a horrible umpire. He had absolutely no right filing a lawsuit. The guy stinks at his job, and that's why he doesn't get promoted. Plain and simple. Yep, ribbon on the chair. That was I think it was the Mother's Day Marathon, the Memorial Day Marathon on Nick's channel on Proud New York Jets fans. He went from 9 p.m. to about 3 in the morning. And Nick and I were the only ones to last all 6 hours. Mekhi Becton's knee trivia. Man, I hope you're getting stronger by the day because Mekhi Becton's knee, you are needed. More on that later. Grandizer, Baba Booey to you, Adam, and all your wonderful viewers. Grandizer, thank you so much, and thank you for promoting. I absolutely appreciate it. Yep, we will do trivia at the end of the show, but you got to stay tuned for the whole thing. All right, so yep, you'll definitely want to stay with us on that. I will do one quick word on New York baseball. Usually I spend a decent amount of time, particularly on the Mets and sometimes on the Yankees as well. But going into tonight's game, they were 11 games under 500 combined. Now 12 games now that the Yankees got shut out again. Do you know the last time that the 2 New York baseball teams finished a combined 12 games or worse under 500? It was 1993. Okay, but that year, here's the thing. 30 years ago, the Yankees did finish second in their division. They had the 3rd best record in the American League, but this was right before the wild card, so they didn't make the playoffs. But there has never been, in the 60 years that the Mets and Yankees have both been in existence, there has never been a season when both teams finished last in their respective divisions, and it is a very distinct possibility now. The New York Mets are just 1 game up on the pathetic Washington Nationals, a team that plays Dom Smith at first base and bats him 5th every single day, and the Yankees are 3.5 games behind the Boston Red Sox. I can't anymore. Let's move on to football. Enough baseball, at least for this week. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game with your boy Y2K99. Oh my gosh! Oh, we got Knobcraft here. I don't want to overlook Knobcraft. It's good to see you here too, my friend. Thanks for swinging by. I believe super chats are open. I believe so. Check out there if you do feel led to make a donation. It would be very, very much appreciated. So I can keep this content not only going but give you some good quality content and Pay for those monthly subscriptions that we got to do. Okay, I do want to spend a minute on the AFC running back situation. Think about it. The Bills have Dalvin Cook. The Jets just signed Dalvin James Cook. The Patriots have a running back who may very well be Cook. We don't know. But Ezekiel Elliott, I want to spend a moment on him signing a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Patriots, worth up to $6 million. Now, Kraft, I'm glad you're here. Hey, yeah, set your notifications, man, 10 p.m. Feel free to watch it back also. Don't try to go too long here, but just enough to give you a good amount of info and a whole lot of entertainment and very little filler, just like a good meatball, good crab cake. You know what I mean? But Ezekiel Elliott last year, I want to talk to you about him. I didn't really want him on the Jets. In fact, I never really felt the Jets needed a veteran running back at this stage in the game. But Elliott in particular, 876 rushing yards last year. That was a career low. But here's the thing. He scored 12 touchdowns and became a very good short yardage back and pass protector, which he's always really been throughout his career. But he had only 3.9 yards per attempt last season. That is the worst mark among 51 running backs that had at least 100 carries last year. Okay, now I think it was a necessary depth move for New England. I mean, look at their running back, check this thing out. Between Ramondre Stevenson, fantastic running back. I happen to like him a lot. After that, you have Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris, Ty Montgomery is injured. I mean, he's been around 10 years. I'll tell you what I think the Patriots would do. I think they're going to use Stevenson between the 20s, the 20-yard lines, and then go to Elliott when it's time to get into the red zone. So I would actually beware of Ramondre Stevenson in fantasy. I think his value took a big, big hit. And remember, Patriots at Cowboys this on Sunday, October 1st, week 4. That should be something else. John Nolte with the $4.99. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it very much. If I don't say hi, I'm driving. Voice to text. Come on now. I definitely appreciate the $4.99. By the way, I am looking into some sort of membership situation to see maybe we can add some emojis on here, add some cool stuff, add some new features. Working on what makes sense. I don't want to launch anything too fast. Want to make sure everything is thought out, but I am definitely looking into that. Okay, now let's get into the main content here. We are going to talk not AFC East, but we are going to talk the most exciting, riveting, potentially heartbreaking team in the NFL, the New York Football Jets. And you know what that means. I got to play. Let's hear it. That's what I'm talking about. So with the New York Jets, I want to talk about a couple of things here tonight. First thing I want to address the preseason game against Carolina and a couple of players that stood out. I did do a video talking about some players I would be watching for in this game. Now, I will say this first of all. My intention was to very under the radar fly to Charlotte for the game. Okay, so I lived 10 minutes away from the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. International in the sense it flies to one city, and that's Charlotte, North Carolina on American Airlines. So I arranged for a pass situation. As you may know, my mom worked for American Airlines for well over 40 years. And I had arranged the night before, there were 4 seats open, go to the airport, and I'm ready to go. And it's getting later. And then all of a sudden they call us up. Myself and one of the guys said, one guy brought 4 passes this morning for an oversell, and there's no room on the flight. So I got bumped. I was really disappointed. I was really looking forward to going to the game. The one correct thing I did not buy my ticket before I got on the plane, my game ticket. So it was a disappointment to not be able to go. But, I still followed the game as much as I could. A couple things that stood out to me in this game. And I'm going to talk about some players that are getting attention and a few players that I think are not getting attention who should be. Okay, now, first of all, the pass rush, amazing. 19 pass rush pressures, 5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 5 players with a pass rush win rate over 10%. That's amazing. Jermaine Johnson played only 12 snaps in this game. Okay, 9 of them were passing. He had 3 pressures, 1 sack, and 1 quarterback hit. Will McDonald played 18 snaps. 11 of them were passing. All right, so these guys weren't playing a ton of snaps, by the way. Less than half the game. But McDonald on 11 passing plays generates 5 pressures, 1 sack, a 36.4 win rate on 11 snaps. These two guys tore it up in limited time, and that's why I'm so excited about them. Another guy I'm going to talk about, and I know you wouldn't have expected to hear this name tonight, is Jimmy Moreland. I'll give everybody a moment so you can find him on the Jets roster. Now, he's one of their depth cornerbacks. And I got to tell you, I've been a little bit worried about the cornerback situation on this team once you get past the starters. You've got Sauce Gardner, you've got DJ Reed, you've got Michael Carter the second in the slot. Fantastic. That's as good as it gets in football. But after that, Brandon Eccles, he's suspended for the first game. Bryce Hall has not been the same in over a year now. After that, what do you have? If there's an injury, and Javelin Guidry, he's gone. He hurt his knee. He's cut. He's history. The cornerback room takes another hit. But Jimmy Moreland actually had a good game against Carolina. He allowed a passer rating of 28.6 when quarterbacks threw into his coverage. He had a pass breakup, an interception. He surrendered 31 yards on 7 targets. I believe that's through the preseason. You know, he is not a player that anybody's talking about, but if you're looking for sort of an under-the-radar player who's slowly working his way up, Jimmy Moreland could make a run for that last cornerback spot now. John Nolte, they actually cut Javelin Guidry today. When they signed Dalvin Cook, they cut Guidry. He was going to be going on IR, but with the knee injury that he suffered yesterday against Tampa Bay, they actually did release him. So Javelin Guidry is no longer on the Jets roster. He's not even on IR anymore. Now, as far as Zach Wilson goes, we have to look a little bit deeper at this, okay? He had 14 completions on 20 attempts. Very, very good. 123 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, the vast majority of his passes were rather short, high percentage, which we've been wanting to see him make for a long time now. He did do that. That's very, very important. Hopefully, he'll have the green light to take a few more shots down the field in this next game against Tampa Bay. One concern I do have about the performance. When he was pressured, he was 1 for 4 with 8 yards. And with this offensive line that has just about every Jets fan pulling what's left of their hair out, you know, even though Zach Wilson's been looking pretty good this preseason, I'm worried he's going to be facing pressure if he was to ever get into a game. Okay, so that's my one concern as far as that goes. Rusty Spooner, I saw him last night at Pure Adrenaline. On the Long Beach Joe show. Saw him for a few minutes. Yeah, I love me some Trey Dean for sure. I would really like to see him get a roster spot. I think let's see what he does. You know, I feel like his name hasn't really been talked about in the last week or so. But I think Trey Dean's going to have an opportunity to do something against Tampa Bay, who has some absolutely horrific quarterbacks. I mean, I'm sorry, Kyle Trask. Oh boy, yeah, Kyle Trask. Yeah, not good. Kyle Trask makes Luke Falk almost look like an NFL player. Okay, almost. I did say almost. Do want to point that out. Joe Tippmann, fantastic, succeeded again. Here's some of the things I like about Tippmann. He's doing very well on screens. You know, the Jets felt like the Jets have not been able to run good screen passes in a while, but he is very good at sort of anticipating where he has to go, getting in position, and executing his block. Very good lateral movement. He's shown a lot of good ability to recover. You know, if he's caught out of position, he manages to turn his hips, set his hands near his chest, and create leverage to make the block. Okay? And the fact that Aaron Rodgers likes a lot of screen passes, he likes short dump-off passes to running backs, to fullbacks. Having an athletic blocker is very useful, and that's something Joe Tippmann can do. Okay? If anything with Tippmann, I think one reason maybe they moved him to guard for the time being, his snaps have been a little bit erratic, kind of like Wes Schweitzer. At the end of the day, the big difference between Connor McGovern and Joe Tippmann starting could actually be that McGovern is a very reliable snapper of the ball, and Tippmann has to refine that a little bit more. Trask makes Zach look like George Blanda. Yeah, I remember watching one of my best friends down here is actually a University of Florida fan. So we watched a few Florida games together. Like, I'm not a big college football fan myself, but we were watching Kyle Pitts because I was hoping the Jets might have a shot at drafting Kyle Pitts. But the more I watched Kyle Trask, the more and more I was underwhelmed. You know what are we really afraid about with the Tampa Bay offense? I mean, well, let's think about the Tampa Bay offense. You got Tristan Wirfs, you got Ryan Jensen if they play. Obviously, Evans and Godwin are very, very good wide receivers, but you still have to have a quarterback throw them the football. Who's throwing them the football? I'm not worried about Kyle Trask. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention Russell Gage out for the season. All the best to him. Hopefully, a speedy recovery to Russell Gage. But yeah, I mean the probably the only four players who you really respect on the Tampa Bay offense are their two wide receivers who are aging, their center, and their right tackle. I mean that's pretty much it, right? So yeah, so I'm honestly not that worried about their offense at all. I'm not worried at all. If we were worried about the Tampa Bay offense, I'm scared. Who are we not worried about? Let's think about it. Now with Connor McGovern, I think one of the things with Tittman, I'm sorry, with McGovern, he did have a tripping penalty which killed the momentum of one drive. And when on that one play when Bam Knight nearly fumbled, he whiffed on an open block in the open field. I, I'm a little bit surprised that they're trusting Tittman to play guard over McGovern right now. But obviously, this is a situation where the Jets are very limited on their offensive line. Their two starting guards are out. At least the players we think will be their two starting guards are out. And they are trying just about anything they can. I'm going to get into the offensive line a little bit more, but I will say this. I think maybe one player at the most is playing the position today where he will eventually end up playing during the regular season if all goes well. So I'm not worried about it just yet, considering they were just coming together for the first time. But yeah, and again, this season it doesn't start for another 26 days. There is still time for things to work out, and I still expect AVT to go to right tackle. I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying it for weeks that I felt that that was what was going to happen, and I'm more and more confident that it is going to happen. Emanon, will JD sign an old lineman or wait for somebody to be released? How many good tackles are going to be released, though? You know, teams are going to hold on to their swing tackles as best they can. You know, Brandon Shell just retired. I would actually call up Brandon Shell. What? See if he'll come out of retirement. I mean, why not? He was in camp with the Bills, so you know who knows. I just don't know what's going to be available. I mean, do you really expect that the Jets are going to be able to trade a running back? I know we got the surplus at running back, but you rarely see a player for a player trade, right? So a running back for an offensive lineman, I can't imagine that that is going to happen. Didn't Salah say that Becton will get right tackle snaps in practice tomorrow? Hank, I'm getting there. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yep, Fant was signed by Houston. George Fant was about 2 weeks ago for about $3 million, and the Jets gave Billy Turner $2 million. That may not turn out to be the best decision that Joe Douglas has ever made, but who knows how George Fant's knee is actually doing. Johnny Jimenez, do you think our defense can break the season sack record? Let's go! Well, the Jets last year had 45 sacks. Okay, now I haven't done my season predictions yet. I gotta work on those a little bit more. Now I know Philadelphia last year had 75. I haven't seen what the record is for sacks in one season, but I will say this: the Jets are going to be in a position to have a whole lot more sacks than they did last year because they should be playing with the lead a little bit more. So teams are going to have to throw the ball a little bit more to score on them, to move the ball down the field. And this is a very minute detail that I think people may not necessarily think about early on, but look at the difference in punter. Think about it. You have Thomas Morstead, who is fantastic at putting the ball inside the 20. Braden Mann, he had a lot of touchbacks. If Morstead's putting the ball like around the 5-yard line, if the offense has to start their drive on their own 5 as opposed to their own 25, and the team can potentially pin their ears back and rush the passer like on those third down plays, watch out. Watch out. There are a lot more opportunities for this defense to score than there were last year because remember, last season as there's as we have a fly invading us. So I should have brought some spray with me. Oh, well, hopefully he'll get out of here. Yeah, last year the Jets didn't score one time on defense. Not a safety, not a touchdown, nothing. And I definitely expect that to change this year. Is there a realistic trade possibility? Knobcraft asks for a guard or a tackle. Almost got him. Not quite. As I knocked my phone over. For a guard or a tackle, I don't know because what teams are really willing to trade one? Unless there's a situation with a contract dispute going on, and Zach Martin is clearly not one of those situations right now. I don't see why a team at this point would want to trade offensive line depth when it is so precious and it is so hard to find. So, I mean, I can't really give you a specific player in mind, but, if there is anybody else on the market, I still think the best move is putting AVT at right tackle. You have a couple of guys who can play guard. You could put Wes Schweitzer in that spot. You could put Connor McGovern in that spot, Joe Tippmann in that spot, and have the other one play center. You still have Laken Tomlinson, as much as you may not trust him. Who would I rather have on the field, Laken Tomlinson or say a Max Mitchell or a Billy Turner? I'll take my chances that Tomlinson will have a little bit better season. Just my thought. Fant's good season with the Jets was a career anomaly. Well, I mean, it was one of his few seasons where he was healthy, and he was a fantastic pass blocker that season, no question about it. Mekhi Becton's knee. We did get a safety though. Yeah, we picked up a couple of safeties. Which one? We got a couple. We got Dane Cruikshank from Tennessee, so we signed him most recently. Adrian Amos before him. So we did get a couple of guys. Leslie Spooner, we could trade Carter to the Saints for a fourth or third midseason. Even though Michael Carter was drafted in the fourth round, we're going to get our draft value back for him. Okay, where do I sign up for that? Where do I sign up for that? Where in his third year, Joe Douglas is going to get the same value of trade, the same draft round pick that he got to originally drafted him when he had more years of control. That would be super impressive if he managed to pull that off. That's all I'm saying as far as that goes. But Sauce got the one right. We didn't get any touchdowns. Yes, Sauce had the one against Teddy Bridgewater in the first game. Yeah, that was the one exception, but still no touchdowns. So that is still true. Jets mess. This line is so thin. Chuma Edoga would look good now. Hey, run down the linemen. Colin Baxter, Nick Mangold's backup, Wayne Hunter. We could run down the litany of offensive linemen that we have seen here over the years. So the return, Kamara's in big trouble. The Saints will be desperate. Didn't they sign Jamal Williams, who had like 15 touchdowns last year? Yeah, I don't know if the Saints are too desperate. I don't think so. And they can still use Taysom Hill at any position that they want to. So yeah, I think Jamal Williams will just get more usage. With Mekhi Becton, let's talk about Mekhi Becton for a minute. So he played 27 snaps against Carolina. Think about how desperate the Jets are. They're actually playing him. I think it's because they didn't want to piss Becton off, because we know Becton down deep still wants to be a left tackle, but they're so desperate that now they have to put him at right tackle, which Robert Saleh declared today the Jets were going to do starting tomorrow. But here's the thing. As bad as this line has been, they need to play Becton. There might be a few growing pains, but we have seen when Becton plays, he can be excellent. But Becton has to be playing. I don't care if it's at left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard, speed stick, Old Spice, nose guard. I don't care what position. Mekhi Becton needs to play on the offensive line. I can't deal with watching Billy Turnstile and Max, here I am stuck in the Mitchell with you, just letting these pass rushers, these average to decent pass rushers, fly by them like they're not even there. I can't. Joe Tryon, decent pass rusher. They made him look like he was Joey Bosa in the practice today. My gosh. And the other thing with Becton, isn't it amazing? I feel like it was a month ago with training camp when a lot of the Jets beat writers, a lot of people were saying, you can't really trust Becton. You got to play Dwayne Brown. You play Becton, you have to, but you can't count on Becton. And now you have beat writers like Connor Hughes today, basically imploring the Jets to play him, imploring him to be played. Knobcrab, Joni Mitchell, yeah, help me. I think I'm falling. I think this offensive line is starting to fall a little bit. Yeah. Put Becton on the D-line to jam up the run game of our opponents. You know what? He might be able to do that, but I think we got a guy there named Al Woods who's going to do a very, very good job of that. Yeah, I don't think I'm too worried as far as the defensive line goes. Even the run defense, I'm not too worried about. John Nolte, I wonder if JD is working on David Bakhtiari deal behind the scenes. I feel like if it would have happened in the trade with Rodgers. I would be all for it. I would think it would be worth a try. If Dwayne Brown is not going to be able to come back healthy, then I think it makes sense. But if you because I think Dwayne Brown's already making $11 million this year anyway. So, yeah, I mean, we only have so much cap room left. but I would be open to the idea of Bakhtiari. I don't know what the Packers would want back. I mean, I know we have the running back depth, but they have Dillon, they have Jones. I mean, I don't think you're giving a running back for this. Obviously, there'd be some draft compensation going along with this. I got to say, Nolte, I don't think it's a bad idea. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Oh, and with the skill players, so I'm gonna get a little bit crazy here with the chat. I want to know what you all think. Do you think the Jets should actually go 5 wide receivers? Because who's really stuck out among these kids? Jason Brownlee, Xavier Gibson? They haven't done as much in the games. Gibson had the one really good return on special teams, but he also fumbled. Brownlee, even though he's got nice size, he hasn't shown the ability to separate from a defender. They're not really doing much in the games. You wonder if Malik Taylor's getting the edge. Or does this open a spot potentially for an extra running back or tight end, which I think the Jets are personally going to need? I personally would rather have the 4th running back or the 4th tight end as opposed to the 6th wide receiver. Because with this offense, the Jets are going to need more blocking. They really will. And that's why I think having an extra tight end can be very valuable. You know, if you use Ruckert primarily, for instance, Jeremy Ruckert as a blocking tight end for right now, I have no issue with that. Zach Kuntz, I think he still has to learn a little bit about blocking. I don't expect him to play much outside of special teams, but I think if Kuntz can sneak his way onto the team, and Johnny Jimenez, I know you want this just like I do, I think that he would make it as a special teamer. You know, Jess Smith, I haven't actually been watching him as a blocker. I know he's got the size, he's got the speed, and he's very, very strong, but I think he has to develop his fundamentals. I can tell you he was not blocking a lot at ODU. He did not have to do that. So I think that's something they're going to have to work with Mond. So Rob Middleton, I think that's going to be one of his big projects. Rucker could double as a fullback, but I can't imagine Nick Barden getting cut. You know, no, I just cannot imagine that Nick Barden doesn't. He has been used so much in this offense. I got to tell you, I am a big Barden guy. I do not want Barden gone. I feel like the running game is going to be a whole lot better with him in the picture. And again, I think Barden also helps your pass blocking as well. You know, if you have a little bit of a leak, having a fullback in there, if it gives Rodgers just that little extra time to throw, I got the confidence with these skill position players, they will be able to make something work. I really, really do. So I think having that extra blocker in there would be a very wise decision. And that is a reason why I'm a little bit worried about cutting Bam Knight, because he is the best blocking running back the Jets have. That is a fact of life. Knight can block. He is willing to do that, unlike other running backs on this team, who I'll get into a little bit later on. So for me, it's a very, very difficult decision, but I think the more I look at it, I like what I see more at running back and tight end depth more than I do at wide receiver. So for me, I personally would go 5 wide receivers on this team. You can always find another one, and Aaron Rodgers can make them great if you need to. Jets mess. Sign Michael Orr. He is in desperate need for money. Yeah, it is. Isn't that the truth? I mean, who knows what the real truth is with that story? The fact that that is coming out now, it's a little bit bizarre to me that that story is just coming out now, as he's not too long after he is out of the league. It just doesn't. Something about that doesn't sound right to me. And to be honest, it's kind of sad that it's coming to that. I hope both sides will be able to work it out. Now, Kraft, keeping the running back over the wide receiver seems more logical since the lower running backs seem both better at their respective positions and more versatile. Absolutely true. I mean, who would I rather have on the team if all things were the same? Bam Knight or Jason Brownlee? You know, Israel Abanaconda or Malik Taylor? I'm going with the running backs. I'm absolutely going with the running backs, and I don't mind doing it. If this has to be a run-first team because it's a better run blocking offensive line, and you have Nick Barden there at fullback, and you have really great depth at running back, you know what? Great. Make it a run-first team. I'm game. I have absolutely no problem with that. Whatever it takes to move the ball down the field, cool. Let's do it. Okay, and as far as special teams go, wow, you know I got to talk special teams, right? Hey, Greg Zuerlein looks great. He has stayed perfect with his kicks this year. Thomas Morstead, we talked about him. He placed a punt inside the 5-yard line. Coverage teams were pretty much perfect. It is kind of cool. I think this is the first time since Westhoff was around where the Jets are going into a season with no question marks at special teams. At returner, you've got Hardman, you've got I believe Gibson, you have Bam Knight possibly, Jarek Bernard-Converse once he's healthy can return a little bit. Justin Hardy's going to lead a really good coverage unit with Bawden, possibly Ashton Davis, Zach Kuntz. I think the Jets are going to be really, really good on special teams as well. Wesley Spooner, could Beckton work at left guard or is he too tall? Hey, Joe Tippmann wasn't tall enough for center. Have Brown, Beckton, Tippmann, Tomlinson, and AVT at right tackle. Would it possibly work? I don't think the Jets are going to switch Tomlinson from out. I don't think they're ever going to move him out. I am not an expert when it comes to if this player is going to work at tackle versus if he's going to work at guard. Ooh, I'm a little worried about that left side of the offensive line of how with the pass. I don't know. Well, I like Brown there as a pass blocker. He's very good at that. Beckton's a little bit less reliable with the pass blocking than he is with the run blocking. I mean, if Beckton could play guard, that's fine, but the Jets drafted him to be a tackle, and he wants to be a tackle. You know what? It's becoming enough of a problem that the Jets are moving him left tackle to right tackle. What do you think the reaction would be if they told him, Mackay, hey, Robert Saleh calls him and, hey, we got a lot of crows and we got an Eagles, and I know there's going to be a lot of crows picking at your neck, man. But we feel you can play left guard. You're going to get this, bitch. Yeah, you're going to get this. No, it's not going to happen. If I'm Beckton, I'm livid if the Jets try to do that. I don't think there's any shot Beckton would ever move to guard. I'm not saying it wouldn't work in theory, but it's just not going to happen. It's just not. Look, I'm excited to see Beckton in as right tackle. You know what? I would just put Beckton at right tackle, Tomlinson left guard, AVT right guard. That's it. Let's not reshuffle too much of the deck chairs here. So I think you got the right five, but I would just switch them around a little bit. Johnny Mez, let's hit the like button, people. Yes, please hit the like button. That means a whole lot. We want to get this. We definitely want to get this out to as many people as possible. We got 16 likes. Thanks to everybody who have done that. And also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that, and maybe share with a friend who, hey, let them know that we're here. Let them know. John Nolte, Hard Knocks is showing Saleh in a whole new light. Isn't it interesting that there were a lot of critics of Robert Saleh that he's too nice, asking, where's the fire we saw in San Francisco? You know what? He just doesn't believe in I feel like Saleh, when he's on the sideline, he gets angry at the officials, but he is not going to show up his players publicly. He's not going to call anybody out by name, and I respect that. He doesn't want to lose anybody in the locker room by doing something like that, because there's a lot of coaches who have. Gase. But I really appreciate that he took the time to dress that offensive line down, and it seemed to work for about 2 days. and now who knows? I don't know what his next speech is going to be. Maybe it's actually putting them into their own room, and as opposed to doing it in front of the whole team. I don't know what it's going to take. But I really think, to be honest with you, Saleh is not going to be as upset today as he was before, because they had to reshuffle so many pieces. You didn't have one starter in their respective position, I don't think, today. I think outside the center. That was the one exception. Yep, Wednesday night, 10 o'clock. Wednesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, United States of America time, East Coast. Okay, I want to give you a couple of notes here on One Jets Drive and Hard Knocks, my 5 takeaways. Then we'll get into some Dalvin Cook, and then I got some ESPN rankings I want to get into. So I still got a ton more to talk about tonight. All right, stay with me. I may have to go get some water after this for a moment, but we'll do the best we can. My 5 big moments from One Jets Drive / Hard Knocks, and just about everything was Hard Knocks. I thought Hard Knocks blew One Jets Drive out of the water once you got past Michael Clemens doing yoga. So the first thing that kind of that I'm not going to forget is watching a live piercing of an eyebrow. Watching Will McDonald and seeing the needle go into his eye. Now, full disclosure, guys, I donate blood plasma twice a week. Okay, I've been doing that for about 4 years now. I like doing it. It helps people, creates medicine. You make some money for it. It's great. But I got no problem with the needle going in my arm for about 45 minutes at a time. That's fine, because I'm the one making the money. Will McDonald is paying people to put a needle in his eye. To each his own, but I swear the second that eyebrow started to come out, that part of the eye, I seriously had to turn my head. I really, really did. But hey, whatever it takes to make him great, cool, go for it. If that makes him feel better, if that'll make him rush the passer, what do I care? I loved Aaron Rodgers getting into it with the referee on the sideline during the Carolina game. When they cut off Zach Wilson's play, when that one play when the Jets were on offense, Carolina jumps offside, and Rodgers is imploring the official, let him go, let them go, let them go. Referee says, we kind of couldn't do it because your man jumped too. Said, which man? And the referee, he's about as competent as Angel Hernandez is in baseball. He's like, I'll get right back to you with that information. I almost fell off the couch. Now, crap, there's scarier places to get pierced. Well, you know what? If there are, HBO would probably have had coverage of it. Hopefully that would have been in the end credits. That would have been rather disturbing. We're not even going to go to those details. I will say that I am very interested that after the game, Aaron Rodgers told Mekhi Becton, hey, we're going to go get some lunch this week. Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall for the Aaron Rodgers, Mekhi Becton lunch? Oh, man, with what would be going on in those conversations, I would love to know the advice, the tips, the story, whatever Aaron Rodgers has to say to Mekhi Becton in a one-on-one setting. Man, I hope there's some coverage of that. That is something I want to see next week on those shows. The fourth thing I'm going to mention, we've already kind of alluded to it, Robert Saleh letting loose on the offensive line. But don't forget what Saleh said when he was walking off the field before the camera cut away to the locker room. He said, something's missing. We're not ready to play football. And I felt a shiver go through me as I felt that. The fact that he said, we're not ready to play football. I don't expect the team to be like an absolute juggernaut right now, but there is some very, very serious you could tell Saleh has some very serious concerns. Most important lunch in Jets history. Definitely the most important since Darrelle Revis at the Roscoe Diner. Oh, man, I would love to see what the two of them are going to order. That would be rather interesting. Hey, maybe, do you think Rodgers afterwards will take Becton out and they'll smoke a couple mushrooms? You know, maybe that's going to happen too. So, but the fact that Saleh said something is missing, that was for Saleh, who is the eternal optimist. Saleh is like Herman Edwards, just incredibly positive no matter what the circumstances are. That told me something. They are going to do everything they can to fix that offensive line. And you know what? I got a lot of faith in Keith Carter as a coach. I like what I see so far, but he's got a big, big job ahead of him to coach these guys. Rusty Spooner, Q looking like Bane after he literally broke Arkham 100%. Dude is a monster. 11 sacks, brother. Moving on, got to me as well. A whole lot of it got to us. Most important lunch in Jets. Yep, Hank. Yep, we already got you on that one. Yep. So yeah, you got double posted. So those. Oh, and one more thing. Obviously, the greatest part I think we can all acknowledge of this particular week of these two shows, the fact that the comedic genius of Leslie Nielsen was acknowledged. Oh, I was so happy. I grew up on The Naked Gun. I grew up on Airplane, some of my favorite comedies of all time. I could probably even quote like Airplane start to finish. Yeah, the white zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the red zone. No, the red zone is for anyway. You probably know the rest, but that's actually always a good test. Like if I meet a girl, I will. One of the questions I will ask is, "Have you ever seen Airplane?" If they don't, I'm like, "We got to get her initiated." So, but Airplane to me is one of the funniest movies of all time, and you know you got to appreciate The Naked Gun. Happier times for OJ. Good old Nordberg. Oh gosh, Johnny Jimenez. I think the reason they played Becton at left tackle is to have him be a backup in case Brown can't completely go. Great move to finally get him playing some right tackle. I have always felt the reason why they're sticking him at left tackle is because it's easier on his knee to play left tackle than his right tackle. That's the only theory I have, but I feel Becton makes all the sense in the world at right tackle as long as his knee can hold up, because I'll keep saying it, Becton is a better run blocker than pass blocker. And if that's the case, I want him on the right side. Can you imagine Tippmann, AVT, and Becton opening holes? That's what I want this offense to be. Run right side. And if you throw in Nick Vaughn, you throw in a Jeremy Ruckert, one of those big boys blocking as well. I mean, the Jets are going to dominate the league in running if they could do that. But I think it all comes down to Becton playing right tackle and if he can hold up. But I want Becton at right tackle because I think that is best. The most important thing is to protect Aaron Rodgers. And I think the tackle who is going to do that best is Dwayne Brown. We don't know his story. We're trusting Robert Saleh that he's going to be ready for week 1, no questions asked. But if that's the case, I need Becton on the field. Like I said, no more Billy Turnstile and no Max Clowns to the left of me, Jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the Mitchell with you. I can't watch them anymore. Malcraft, man, I love OJ. Hey, who didn't? Who didn't? He's still out there searching for them, though. He's still searching. Still searching on the golf course. Emanon, hey, David Gerard. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by today. Just remember, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. That's right. Yeah, feel free to say hello to each other. Absolutely do that. Yeah, we are community here. The slaps and shaking line, calm down. Oh, God. So let's move on. Now, I want to talk a little Dalvin Cook here. How is it? Wow, the night is flying here. I got so much to talk about. I'm going to fly past an hour tonight. All right. So stay with me. But yeah, I got a lot more that we got to get into. Dalvin Cook. Now, I already did a video expressing my feelings on it, and a lot of people have told me how surprised they are that I am not basically waving the pom-poms for Dalvin Cook. Now, I want to explain this a little bit more. And I'm going to go through some of this. I went through it in a lot more depth with a lot of stats and a lot of numbers on my video. But I'm going to say a few things about Cook. 28 years old, decent age for a running back. I'm very much an admirer of what he's done in his career, the way he plays football, the way he runs. 4 straight Pro Bowl seasons cannot be overlooked. He's got power. He's got speed. I like all of that. And I'll take anybody on a 1-year contract. Anybody. Okay? Just about anybody. He could still rip off big plays. Last year, he had 12 runs of 15 yards or more. Very, very impressive. But a couple of problems I have. This is just my thinking. This is not me trying to be a Debbie Downer or saying the signing sucks. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have concerns, and I don't think it was the move the Jets needed to make to take them to the next level. So 25% of his runs last year, Cook, were for either no gain or minus yardage. He is very fumble prone, tied with Melvin Gordon for most fumbles in the league over the last 4 years. Okay, he's very prone to dropping the ball. He's got a 10% drop rate over the last 4 years. His pass blocking is not good at all. And I'm sorry, we need running backs who can block. We need all the pass blocking we can get. We got to protect the Hall of Fame quarterback no matter what. And I'm sorry, Dalvin Cook shies away from contact when it comes to pass blocking. And that scares me. Okay? I just don't think that this is the right fit. Yes, he can catch the ball, but he can drop the ball. He could go for long runs, but he's prone to fumbling. It's very much an all or nothing. He might win you a game, but he might cost the game as well. And that scares me. Okay? So that is kind of what one of the things that I would say with David. Cook may have been expecting that warm New York welcome. I think we're all lukewarm. I think a lot of people are very much into it. I think most are cool with it. They're fine with it. There's a decent number of people who are very much into it, and there's a few people like Mr. Nolte here who is very, very down. Yeah, we kept him away. Put it this way. If you had between Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, I'm much happier the Jets got Cook and the Patriots got Elliott. I would have been very upset if it was the other way around. I can assure you. Absolutely. I am a Debbie Downer. Just like we said last week, I am anti-fun. We've established this a long time ago. Haven't you figured that out by now? But a couple other things about Cook. You got to remember, he's coming off shoulder surgery. We don't know exactly if he's going to be a full go for week 1. He's going to be out at least a week. Of course, his girlfriend is having their first child, so congratulations to him. Good for him. But when will he be ready to play? You know, Breece Hall may be more ready to play week 1 than Dalvin Cook. We don't know. We don't know the case. This team, and here, I'm going to go back to this running back depth. This team is not going to keep 5 running backs. I'm not even counting Nick Vaughn at fullback. But somebody's going to have to go, barring injury. and I'm really disappointed about it. I don't want to lose one of these kids for nothing. Carter, Knight, or Abanaconda. I'm positive Israel's not going anywhere. It's pretty much Bam or it's Michael Carter. I don't want to see either of them go, especially I don't want to see them go for nothing. So I'm frustrated about it. And the fact that Breece Hall was activated surprised me even more. The only argument I could have made for Dalvin Cook is maybe Breece Hall starts the season on the PUP list. And you can activate Dalvin Cook, play him in the beginning, and then you just sort of work it out the roster. You play roster gymnastics as the season goes on. But Breece, one day later, he was activated. Great to see it. Happy to see it. But now I'm even more confused. So again, 26 days and counting. Which one of these running backs is going to be ready? Or at the end of the day, will it be Michael Carter taking the first handoff of the season from Aaron Rodgers? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to see Bam go for a conditional 7th round pick. I believe he should get a little bit more. So those are some of my thoughts. Some of yours. I was kind of hoping we get Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette instead of Dalvin Cook. Hey, I'd have been down with Kareem Hunt. That'd have been pretty good. I was told I was crazy. Well, Rusty, you do have your crazy side. That is true. But we all got a little crazy in us. That's why we're Jets fans. Crazy like a fox. Crazy like a fox. Also the name of the biography about the great wrestler and former Cincinnati Bengal Brian Pillman. Very, very good book. We mentioned Crazy Like a Fox. Didn't shy away from contact with his girlfriend. I'm sure he's still not shying away from contact. So, don't I think Bam would make it to the practice squad? I don't. I really think Bam's going to get snatched up. He showed some glimpses last year. I really think some team that needs – put it this way. If I'm the New England Patriots, why wouldn't I take him? Would I not want Bam Knight over Pierre Strong or Ty Montgomery? If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm taking Bam Knight first chance I get. I'm taking him away from the Jets. No doubt about it. Just like they took away Danny Woodhead, they would take away Bam Knight. You know what, Johnny, you may be right. Cook may make the Jets better. As far as name value goes, yes. But going forward, is that what we're going to see? I just don't have the confidence. I just don't. Dom C, good to see you, man. Yeah. Dom C, one of the preeminent geniuses when it comes to prospects and the draft. You catch him on a whole lot of people's channels. He makes a whole lot of guest appearances. So even if his contract was paid with a $1 million base and weekly roster bonuses, he gets X if he's one of the active 48. He's Y if he's inactive. Are you working out line graphs on me right now? If I got to do like bar graphs like this, is this what we're doing right now? Okay, X, Y. Yeah, we know it's $7 million base, and some of it is paid weekly for the time that he spends each week on the roster, IR, or the PUP list. But I don't see any way Dalvin Cook's not with the Jets all season. I'm not even putting a whole lot of salt into it. Yeah, Jets mess. Yeah, he's with me. Cook is banged up and old. Cook's had a few. Yeah, Cook has definitely had some injuries. Yeah, especially with the shoulder. With the shoulder surgery. It is amazing to think that 28 is old, but I guess when it comes to NFL years, yeah, that makes you old at this point. But at least we're not counting on him to be the bell cow. We're not counting on him to carry the offense like for so long Minnesota asked him to do until Justin Jefferson made his presence felt. If you just give Cook, I don't know, 8 to 10 carries a game, somewhere in that area, and give Breece maybe about 13 to 15 and, sneak a few others in there, then, yeah, I can live with that. But, yeah, I don't want Cook running more than like 10 times per game. I think about 10 per game is more than enough for him. Rusty, Hall shouldn't play until after our bye. Not smart or worth it. Wait for too soon for him to come back. Play Abracadabra. Yeah, play the Anaconda and the other backs. We have a good running back room. No rush. I absolutely agree, and that's why I was surprised he was activated. I don't know. I don't understand why he was. Hey, not all ACLs are made the same. Not all athletes are made the same. And if he's ready to come back, if he's ready to play, to take 10, 15 runs against Buffalo, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But, we don't know. I actually am pretty interested to see the road back, the Breece Hall series that the Jets team is going to be creating. That will be very interesting because it really looks like they went in depth. This almost like WWE style, because WWE has done documentaries of athletes rehabbing, whether it was, Cody Rhodes, Cesaro, who else back in the day? I think Triple H a little bit with the quad, when he tore his quad. And it looks like the Jets are doing the same kind of thing with Hall coming back from his ACL injury. I'll tell you what, some of the exercises that I saw him do, wow. Watching that, I felt my knee pop. So, I trust the medical staff that they're going to know exactly when he's ready, and they're not going to rush him back too fast. But I think it's a little bit strong to say that he shouldn't be playing until until the Jets' seventh game, especially when you're playing such good teams as the Jets are over the first 6 weeks of the season. Max $7 million base, right? 8.6 and 8.6 is the most. So, so that's my thoughts on Dalvin Cook. So yeah, I guess the fan base is a little bit more mixed on it than what I had expected. So yep, John Nolte, Saquon Barkley is a freak athlete. It took him 2 seasons to return to form. That he is, but then you have guys like Rod Woodson and Jerry Rice who tore their ACL and they got their pass in 4 months. So it's not just the ACL, but you also got to factor in, was the meniscus torn? Was the MCL messed up? Different things like that. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out, but Breece Hall doesn't have to be the offense, but we need him to be close to what he was last season. But but again, the signing of Dalvin Cook, I don't see why they would have signed Dalvin Cook if they weren't confident about Breece, but yet they activate him the next day. So it's a very strange situation, and I don't think we're really going to start getting our answers until the 53-man roster is finalized. And then even week 1 against Buffalo, let's see who gets the most handoffs. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Only Peterson and Yager came back from that in 10 months. Rod Woodson and Jerry Rice both did. I know that for a fact. I know there was like another wrestler or two who did as well. Actually, Jerry the King Lawler's son, Brian Christopher, who was part of Too Cool, Grandmaster Sexay, he got his pass in about 3.5 months. He got cleared from an ACL. But it's a little bit different being a wrestler or even an NHL player than it is being a running back when you have these lateral movements and these quick cuts. So it is very, very different. David Garrard, tell you what, I don't think we needed it, but I'm happier he's here than Miami, and I don't think we'll regret adding him when it's December. I think that's very, very fair. Yeah, like I said, I definitely did not want him in Miami. I was worried about that, but I felt Cook he just would have made more sense because he just would have been, running. I feel like in this offense, this Nathaniel Hackett offense, he's going to have to catch the ball a decent amount. He's going to have to block a decent amount, and Cook has not shown indications that he is good at doing those things. That's why I'm concerned. It's a lot about the fit in the offense, and I don't know if it's going to work. But again, you get that right side of the offensive line going the way that I think it can go, with Tippmann at center, AVT right guard, Becton right tackle, and throw in like a tight end or a fullback to block as well. Wow. I think the Jets are absolutely going to run teams into the ground. I think that's going to be like their bread and butter on the offense, even more than Aaron Rodgers. I think that running attack can be that good. I really, really do. All right. Well, let's move on to something else here. I want to do some. Sometimes I like to find these different rankings that these different websites do to get a feel for where the world feels the New York Jets are at, where different teams are at. So I found this ranking on ESPN from this guy Mike Clay. Does a lot of fantasy, does a lot of analysis. Pretty smart guy. So what ESPN did was rank 10 different positions by each team in the league. So they looked at quarterback and they ranked each team 1 to 32. Running back ranked each team 1 to 32, and so on. So they did it with quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. And then on defense, they did interior defensive line, edge, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. So what I'm going to do is tell you where the Jets ranked with each one of these positions. And I'll quickly then I'll give you the overall rankings, the overall team roster rankings from 32 all the way to 1. All right. Now before that, yep, John Nolte, I think that's the perfect comparison. Prime Le'Veon Bell, very patient, very, very smart. Yeah, I definitely see Le'Veon Bell. Some people said Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if I see that. I see some Le'Veon Bell. David Garrard with a question. Wa2K, what's your take on us finally landing someone against Miami? Tyreek, Chubb, and now Cook. Feels we were second fiddle, but not since Rodgers came here. Sorry to detract from current combo. Sorry, not sorry. It's a pretty good feeling. It definitely is, and it's nice to know that taxes don't necessarily mean everything. Um, it's definitely for the best that the Jets did not get Tyreek Hill. I don't think they were ready to bring him in at the time. And considering what they put it this way, if they get Tyreek Hill, I think Zach Wilson would still be the quarterback because they probably would not have had the ammunition to acquire Aaron Rodgers, for one thing. And maybe some of these other draft picks that we're really excited about, they might have been gone. I happen to like Bradley Chubb a good deal. Yeah, would have liked to have seen him as a Jet, but did not happen. But it does feel good to beat Miami out for something. But it's amazing just how competitive the AFC East is. I mean, you barely heard any team being mentioned for Dalvin Cook outside of the AFC East, and it seemed like it was all four teams you can make a legitimate argument. He was from Miami. He got the loaded team ready to win now in New York. His brother plays in Buffalo, and they're not that good at running back. New England stinks at running back behind Ramondre Stevenson. All of those teams made all the sense in the world. I personally felt Chicago would have made a ton of sense for him, but yep, that didn't quite happen. But yeah, like I said, I'm an admirer of his game. I want him to absolutely dominate. I absolutely do. Um, at the end of the day, I feel like with the NFL, it's interesting. Like they'll say that money is the most important thing, but I really do think with a lot of guys, it is about the chance to win a Super Bowl. I really, really do. And the fact that Cook chose to come here, yeah, it definitely means a lot. And hopefully he is the first of more to come in the future. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these rankings. So I'm going to go through each of the 10 positions. I'm going to tell you where the Jets ranked 1 through 32. Let me know what your thoughts are. They didn't give write ups on each position, so I'm not going to take too long to go through these, but we'll do that. And after we're done with this, we'll do a little bit of trivia. And hey, yeah, any questions that you have, any comments, yeah, I'll definitely be reading those. So, first position is quarterback. Now, the New York Jets, out of 32 teams, ranked seventh overall. Okay. Now, the teams that ESPN ranked ahead of them: Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Philadelphia. I definitely understand those. Got no issue with that at all. They put the Chargers at number 5. I can understand Justin Herbert believing in his upside. That's fine. But at number 6, they put the Baltimore Ravens. And I got to tell you, I don't see it. Lamar Jackson is an amazing athlete, but how many playoff games has he ever won? How much do you really believe in Lamar Jackson staying healthy for a season as he gets older? I got to tell you, I think a lot, and again, this is just based off 2023. This is not long term. I think a lot of people out there are in love with the idea of what Lamar Jackson could be as opposed to what he is. Amazing athlete, but ultimately, is he going to lead you to a Super Bowl? I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I really don't know. So they ranked the Jets at seventh. I think maybe I would have moved them one spot up to number 6. That's my personal feeling on that. Running back, they ranked the Jets 14th overall, which is not exactly what I would call fantastic, but but still pretty decent. One of the things I'm noticing with these rankings, they really seem to emphasize that you have one elite player as opposed to a lot of depth. Okay, and you'll see that within some of these other rankings as we progress through this. But I don't think this was done. And by the way, I don't think this was done when before Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was not on the Jets when this happened. So maybe if Cook's on the roster, this might knock him up a couple of spots. Also, Brees Hall's injury has to make it a little bit questionable as well. Wide receiver, interesting one. They ranked the Jets 13th overall, which is that one's a little bit interesting to me, considering the Jets have an absolute elite wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. I think just about a whole lot of people are acknowledging that he's elite. I'm actually going to pull the article up here just in case anybody has any questions about what we're talking about here. Okay, yeah, I got the article right here. But they ranked the Jets 14th at running back, 13th at wide receiver, in between Jacksonville and Chicago. Really, they're in Chicago 14th. So they think that the Jets have worse receivers than the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars have Calvin Ridley back, and that's all well and good. But do I think the Jaguars receivers are better than the Jets? I personally don't. Yeah, I'm not buying that one. Tight end, they've got the Jets at 17. I got to be honest, I think that's pretty fair. I think pretty much like average ranking is pretty good because the Jets don't really have a great tight end, but they have a number of ones who can be effective. I think they'll be that much more effective when you got number 8 throwing them the football. But they ranked the Jets. Some of the teams that they ranked with better tight ends than the Jets. Seattle at 14, Houston at 15, Chicago at 16. I didn't know that Cole Kmet was excited ESPN so much. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Interesting though, they rank Miami as having the worst tight ends in the NFL. Now with Mike Gesicki gone, they may have they may have some of the best wide receivers in the game, but Miami's a little bit short on tight ends. So that is something to keep in mind. Who do they have? They have Tyler Kroft. Remember Tyler Kroft, Jets fan? Yeah, Tyler Kroft is there. Durham Smythe. Man, oh man, yeah, that is a rather weak tight end room for Miami. Offensive line, yeah, offensive line. They rank the Jets 25th, and this is the Jets' lowest ranking overall, even behind the Giants. Behind Seattle, behind the Giants, behind Buffalo, just ahead of San Francisco, actually, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm actually quite impressed that it actually is 25th. The only teams with a lower rated offensive line than the Jets are San Francisco, Arizona, Tampa Bay, Washington, the Rams, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. And there's only really 2 teams in that list that I would consider credible playoff contenders, in that being San Francisco and the Jacksonville Jaguars, mostly because the AFC South is an abomination. So, yeah, the 25th ranked offensive line right now, and they got a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove, and the better they are, the better the rest of these offensive rankings are going to look. So then we go to the interior defensive line, and guys, I got a feeling this ranking is going to tick a couple of people off out there. Okay, they rank the Jets' interior defensive line, an interior defensive line that features Quinnen Williams, one of the best defensive linemen in all of football, bar none. Easily top 5. You've got a credible run stuffer in Al Woods. You've got a darn good pass rusher in Quentin Jefferson, guys like that. And they rank the Jets' interior defensive line only 15th in the NFL. I felt that was exceptionally low. They rated the Giants number 1 with Dexter Lawrence and our old buddy Leonard Williams. They ranked the Miami Dolphins 4th. I felt that was rather generous. They rated Buffalo 9th. My goodness. But even with Quinnen Williams, they put the Jets at 15 behind the Rams, I know they have Aaron Donald. This is what I'm talking about. These rankings are about having one elite player. For instance, Indianapolis is number 6, DeForest Buckner. Who else? The Atlanta Falcons are number 3. Grady Jarrett. I guess they're excited about him. Tennessee is number 10. I couldn't even tell you a player on their defensive line. The LA Rams have Aaron Donald. They're still giving them the 11th spot. Tampa Bay 12 with Vita Vea. Kansas City at 13. Denver at 14. And they put the Jets at 15. It's amazing. Yeah, I know. It is pretty shocking, John. I get it. But I guess when you look at the overall unit, David, I guess they're that down on Jefferson and on Woods. Maybe they think these other teams are just deeper. I don't know. But 15 seemed really, really low. I really felt they should have been top 10. Yeah, let's definitely keep some receipts. Okay, John, you said Leonard Williams. I'm just going to read you what ESPN said. All right, I'm just the messenger here. Okay, the Giants defense struggled because they write about the best team, the worst team, and the team to watch. Okay, with each of these rankings. The Giants defense struggled last season, 28th overall and 29th against the run in EPA, which was disappointing considering they have one of the league's top interior D lines. Here's the key words, guys. On paper. It says it right here, on paper. Leonard Williams is, John, if you're not sitting down, sit down and grab something tight. And make sure you don't have any sharp objects. Leonard Williams is a certified superstar, and Dexter Lawrence was arguably better. Only Chris Jones had a better PFF. So as far as that ranking goes, ESPN, I got something to say to you. You deserve to be booed for that one, guys. You really, really do. All right. All right, edge rusher. Let's go to edge rusher. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about having an elite player and how that really ups your rankings, right? I oh my God, superstar, that's pathetic. Hey, they said it, not me. They said it, not me. And I don't think there's a single thing outside of quarterback that the Jets fans are more excited about than this pass rush, than these edge rushers. Let's think about who we've got. We've got Carl Lawson. We've got John Franklin Myers. We've got Bryce Huff. We've got Will McDonald. We've got Jermaine Johnson. We've got Michael Clements. We've got all these players. And where do they rank the Jets edge rush? 11. They rate the Jets edge rushers behind. I'm just going to read off the teams that they rate ahead of us. Pittsburgh, they have TJ Watt. The Chargers, they've got Bosa. The Cowboys, yeah, they got some very good players over there. Cleveland, you got Myles Garrett. Philadelphia, we know they're loaded. I get that. Miami, they put 6. Okay, Miami, they put 6. I guess they love Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips that much. The Raiders, with Max Crosby, they put 7. See, it's about one edge rusher. It's not about the depth. Buffalo, 8. Washington, 9. Detroit, 10. I'm sorry. When did Aiden Hutchinson become Reggie White? Did I miss something here? Did I miss something? How is Detroit rated as having a better edge rushing unit than the Jets? It makes no sense. The Raiders, by the way, do have Tyree Wilson. I will mention that. But the Jets are ranked 11 at edge rush. That is that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Then we go to off-ball linebacker. The Jets are only at 21. I think that's pretty fair with Mosley and Quincy Williams. I expected that to be in the 20s somewhere, so I'm not going to kill them for that one. Cornerback, as you may know, if you've been on ESPN, the Jets were indeed ranked number 1. Philadelphia 2. Green Bay was ranked 3. So that is the one. That is the only position where the Jets ranked top 5. As a matter of fact, was the cornerback room. And basically what they say is what you would expect. Reigning defensive rookie of the year and first team All-Pro Sauce Gardner is arguably the league's best corner. Gardner wasn't tasked with shadowing top receivers as a rookie, but that's because he didn't need to with DJ Reed, one of the league's most underrated defensive backs on the other side of the field. Former 5th-round flyer Michael Carter has developed into a solid slot man. He absolutely has. Absolutely has. Yeah, we're going to hurt a lot of people. Again, we had 45 sacks last year. That's one of the predictions I got exactly right. I predicted before the season the Jets would have 45 sacks. Also, Grievka from Jets X, she said 45 also, as it turned out. And we were both right. So this year I got to look a little bit deeper, but I definitely think it's going to be over 45. I definitely think that. David Garrard, in terms of depth and talent, the Jets are top 5 in the league, and I won't hear it. Hey, I'm going to get to the overall rankings in a little bit. We're going to get to that. All right? We will get there. Yeah, as far as the edge goes. Yeah, they absolutely should be top 5 as far as that goes. There's no question about it. So the Jets are ranked number 1 at cornerback, and finally at safety, they are ranked 21st. There's a good amount to prove there. Jets fans very down on Jordan Whitehead. Tony Adams, I like what I'm seeing, but he's got to prove himself. And then you have you have the veteran in Adrian Amos. Hopefully Trey Dean can work his way onto the roster. But you know what? Think about a couple of years ago. The Jets might have been number 1 at safety and about number 20 or 25 at cornerback. Wouldn't you rather have it the other way around? I know I would. So it just goes to show you, even though the Jets aren't like top 10 in a ton of positions, they're pretty dang good at the most important spots. Quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher, cornerback. And that is encouraging to me. And that's why I feel Joe Douglas is building this thing the right way. John Nolte with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. All right. So those are the 10 positions. Now they rank every team 32 to number 1. So I'll give you very quickly. I'm going to run through the teams, and we'll take a look at where each team ranks. But first, this message from David Garrard. Can we give JD his flowers now? I think we're already building the statue with a nice big beard on it. Look at this roster outside of OL, which has hope. No longer are the days of a Darius Stewart and Chad Hansen. and so many other players who we just had blind hope on, and they never, ever panned out. Yeah, the Red Jets really did a lot of good players dirty by not supporting them, particularly quarterbacks. Rusty, I think we get 76 sacks. That's one quarter, one a quarter. That's 68. We're going to get more than just one sack in the fourth. Wow. I'll tell you one thing. There's no doubt about it. Teams might have to put in an extra lineman or blocker to help stave off that edge rush, which will make coverage a whole lot more easy. Because here's the other thing to remember. Last year, the Jets blitzed the least among any team in the NFL. In terms of blitz percentage, no team blitzed less than the Jets. And they were still getting home a decent amount of the time. They still finished fifth in sacks. Now, they weren't always getting pressure, but when they got pressure on the quarterback, they got the sack. This year, we're going to see what happens. But I think there might be some times when they have to blitz a little bit more because I think the other team is going to be that worried about they might want a six blocker to block four rushers. It's going to be very interesting to see how the coaches adjust to our edge rush. So it's something to really watch how they deploy that personnel. Okay, let's roll through these rosters from 32 all the way to number 1. So 32, they've got the Rams. I'm with it. 31, they've got the Cardinals. I might have flip-flopped the two of them, to be honest, just because of Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford. 30, they've got the Colts. Makes sense, especially if Jonathan Taylor is hurt. 29, the Falcons. I think some people would actually argue with that. And by the way, these rankings are weighted to factor in position. So quarterback, of course, will mean more than running back. Just want to mention that. Maybe they're a little tough on Atlanta at 29. I don't know about that. 28 is Washington. I think they're very good in a few spots, but shaky in a lot of others. 27, Tampa Bay. I could sort of see that. I have no confidence in their quarterback whatsoever, but they still do have a pretty good defense. 26 is Houston. I think Houston might surprise some people. They might win a few games this year. We'll see what their quarterback winds up doing. But you do have some pretty good. You do have some decent players on that roster. They've had some very good, very top draft picks as of late, and let's see how they come together. Let's see what happens. 25, the Carolina Panthers. I don't argue that. I don't have any issues with that ranking at all. I do think, though, Frank Reich will help that team to overachieve this year. 24, we've got Tennessee. Okay. 23, Green Bay, which is interesting, actually, because Green Bay was ranked 3 in the cornerback ranking. So, yeah, they don't trust a whole lot of these players outside of the cornerback room in Green Bay. 22 is the Raiders. 21, here we go. 21, the New England Patriots. And it is pretty interesting. But by the way, if you have any questions about any of the teams and where they ranked in a certain category, let me know in the chat. I'll look it up for you because this thing is behind a paywall. But, New England, you have to admire. They do have some pretty good pieces, and like a Matthew Judon, they have a good secondary as well. But you don't really have you don't have much you trust in quarterback, wide receiver. You got a pretty decent O-line. You got some good pieces there with Cole Strange, of course, is the first person I think of the way they reached for him. But they do, and David Andrews at center. They do have a pretty good offensive line. Okay, number 20 is the Chicago Bears. 19 is the New York Giants. So they got the Giants ranked really high in certain spots and really low in other spots, and it came out to a 19 rating. Actually, I'm going to double check quarterback here. I want to see where they rank quarterback for the Giants. Okay, here it is. They rank the Giants overall 13th at quarterback for Daniel Jones. Okay, I don't think that's too harsh. I don't think that's too generous either. Okay, so the Giants are 19th. 18, you got the Detroit Lions. 17, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. 16th, we've got Seattle. That's an interesting one. I think Seattle's got some talent. 15. How about this one? 15 is San Francisco, a team with a lot of weapons to work with, with McCaffrey, with Samuel, with Kittle, with Ayuk, and a lot of good players on that defense, but they don't believe in the quarterbacks, and they really don't like the offensive line with San Francisco. So who knows? I mean, the Giants are going to, the Niners are going to have to up that quarterback and offensive line game if they want to show up to the Super Bowl against the Jets and settle for those 21 points while the Jets score the 31. You know what I'm talking about. So 15, San Francisco. 14, we've got the Minnesota Vikings. 13 is New Orleans. 12 is the Denver Broncos. I think that's a little rich. I think they're counting on Russell Wilson to have a little bit of a comeback, but they do like the Denver secondary for sure. But I'll tell you what, I'm not exactly worried about their offense. I'll tell you that. Number 11, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They love the Pittsburgh defense, particularly the safeties and the edge rush. Both are ranked. So the safeties, I think, are ranked number 2 behind Buffalo, and the edge rush is ranked number 1. So they like Pittsburgh a whole heck of a lot. Number 10, and we still got 3 AFC East teams to go. So 3 AFC East teams here in the top 10. Number 10 is the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is definitely too generous. Much as I like John Harbaugh as a coach, I still don't believe in this offense being able to work all that great. Very good secondary. I don't trust the front seven like I used to. I think the Ravens are just a good, solid, fundamental team. But as far as the most talented roster goes, I might put Pittsburgh ahead of Baltimore. I think I actually would. I think I would. Number 9, it's us. It's the New York Jets. The Jets are ranked number 9 overall in terms of roster talent. And when you factor in that they took some real shots at linebacker, like they finished in the 20s in both linebacker and safety and offensive line. So when you factor that in, the fact that the Jets still came out number 9, that's really not that bad. Number 8, the Cincinnati Bengals. You can understand that with their offense, absolutely dynamic. Number 7 is the Kansas City Chiefs. That one's a little bit surprising, but I don't think they're too big on the defense outside of players like Chris Jones and also running back. I don't think they love running back too much. Number 6, the Miami Dolphins. And the interesting thing to note, the article says Miami would have been number 3 had it not been for the injury to Jalen Ramsey. Isn't that crazy? That they actually felt Miami was the 3rd ranked roster in the NFL, even though they still have Tua on their team. So, yeah, that was a little surprising. They think Miami has a more talented roster than Kansas City. Wow. Number 5, Cleveland. And the more you think about it, I think it makes a lot of sense. Cleveland has a fantastic offensive line. If Deshaun Watson plays like he's capable of, he's a wonderful talent. Nick Chubb, amazing running back, one of the best in football. You got some depth now at wide receiver with Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones. You got quite a few playmakers on defense with the Myles Garretts, the JOKs, different guys like that, Denzel Ward. So I got to tell you, at your first thought, you might think Cleveland is too high at 5, but if you look at the roster, they actually have a very good roster. The question is Kevin Stefanski the right coach for the job? You know what, John Nolte? I would say Tua he's a proven talent who can do well, but it is very, very unproven that he could stay healthy. And because of that, I feel as though Miami is very much a wild card. Yeah, I get it. So number 5 is Cleveland. Number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, California. Then you've got number 2, Buffalo, and number 1, Philadelphia Eagles. And it's interesting. So the Jets are playing, if we look at this, of these rosters, the teams ahead of them, the Jets are playing all of them except Cincinnati, right? They're playing Philadelphia, Buffalo twice, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Browns, the Dolphins twice, and the Chiefs. That is essentially half their schedule. Wow. So, yeah, this is why the Jets had to up their game. They had to up their roster at so many positions. What got 7 wins last year may not have been enough for 5 wins this year without the upgrades that they made, without bringing in Aaron Rodgers, without bringing in Will McDonald to help with that pass rush because they needed help at pass rush. Bring in some of the help at safety that they did as well. And, I'll throw in Dalvin Cook too, no doubt about it. So you have to get after those quarterbacks, and you need a quarterback who can win a game against a great team. And thank God that they brought in Aaron Rodgers to help do that. So those are the rankings, and that's pretty much what we have as far as that goes tonight. So let's see. It is now 11:25. Okay, it's getting pretty late, so let's do some trivia right now. We'll do some New York Jets trivia. So what I'm going to do is get the old watch ready here on the cell phone. And I got to tell you guys, I've got the Jets trivia questions ready to go from now all the way through the regular season. I've got them all planned out. So we're going to be doing these every week. And so, yeah, you definitely will not want to miss a week of doing the trivia live, for sure. And speaking of the trivia, enter the room. Everybody ready? Okay, let's do this thing. So here is the question tonight. This is going to be a draft-related Jets question. Here it is. Name the 4 players that the New York Jets have drafted from Florida State in the 21st century. So that's from the year 2000 going forward. So since 2000, the Jets have drafted 4 players from Florida State. Who are they? And I'm giving you 5 minutes, and the clock has started. So I will be watching the chat. I will be monitoring the chat closely as I can. All right, so let's see. Hank Oy. I'm not familiar with who Oy is. All right, 4. Yeah, I'll keep mentioning 4 players the Jets drafted from Florida State in the 21st century. I really think this is a gettable question. I think this is a pretty fair one. Okay. John Nolby, who's the defensive end green bean love that we cut last year? I know he hated Javelin Guidry. The guy's probably turning freaking cartwheels right now. The defensive end, I know he was interested in Bradley Anae, but he's on IR right now. No, it's not a defensive end that we cut. I can tell you it's not. That's not the situation. Some of these were kind of early on in the 2000s, and some of these are quite recent. One of the players we actually mentioned earlier on during the show tonight. And I would say these first 2 players, these are not busts. The first 2 players, very much respected, very much admired, very much loved by Jets fans. So I hope that narrows it down a little bit. And try not to look it up, guys. All right, we're watching. I need some background. Don't we need some Jeopardy music? I got to look at getting maybe some quiz show music to like in the background that loops for like 5 minutes. I think we need something like that. Hank G says Q as in Quinnen Williams. That would be a no. Quinnen went to Alabama. Come on, Chad. I know we got a diehard fan base here. I know that we can come up with somebody. I know we can get a few of them. We got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go as of now. Come on, guys. We can do it. You know, I actually mentioned I got to say this on. I popped into one of the shows Thursday for a little bit, just into the chat, and I saw Curly Norman, who's like my old trivia nemesis. And I told him, I said, "Man, get over here, man. I need you," because he gets more questions right than anybody that I was doing these questions with. This is Florida State, by the way, David Garrard. Florida State, not University of Florida. It's not Tim Tebow school. Yeah, so Florida State. Rusty, there we go. The question is, name the 4 players the Jets drafted from Florida State in the 21st century. So 2000 going forward. David Garrard says FSU. He says Jermaine Johnson. That is correct. So that is one correct answer. Florida, Ja'Kai Polite. No. Florida State. Yeah, Florida State. We're going with the Seminoles, like Ron Simmons, Deion Sanders. There we go. That stupid-ass Seminole chop. John Nolte says Jabari Zuniga. Oh, that's the one who Green Bean Love said. That's the one that he liked. Well, no, afraid not. I tell you what, the crowd is like watching you guys. They're a little bit upset with you all right now. They had higher hopes for you. Come on, guys. All right, we got Jermaine Johnson. Let's see. We got less than a minute here. Let's see what I can do. The two earlier players that were drafted early in the 2000s were on offense. There's one other recent player who played defense who was on the team not that long ago. We got 30 seconds. David Garrard says Hamza Nasruddin. That is correct. All right, so you got the two most recent ones. You got 20 seconds left on the clock. I think I might stump. I may stump you all tonight. I don't know. Ooh, without much time left, Rusty Spooner says Lavernius Coles. You got it. That's more like it. Okay, 5 seconds. You got 3 out of the 4. 3, 2, 1. And we are out of time. Okay, the correct answers were Lavernius Coles, drafted in 2000. Hamza Nasruddin, drafted in 2021. Jermaine Johnson, drafted in 2022. And in 2006, one of the best drafts the Jets ever had. 2006, they drafted a running back from Florida State University who went on to be a fantastic Jet for years to come. He has done some coaching with the Jets as well. One of the best special teams players we have ever watched. It's number 29, Leon Washington. So Leon Washington was the fourth player, and he was drafted from Florida State by the Jets in the year of our Lord, 2006. But hey, good try. Come back next week. I got another question ready for you. Come on back, see if you can get it. All right, guys. I think we're going to wind it down for the night. Yeah, it's 11. Yeah, it's 11:30. Yeah, David Garrard, don't tell me. I just told you it was Leon Washington. All right. So tune back in next Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Between now and then, I'm sure there'll be more content coming up. It may be Jets, maybe Mets, Rangers, Yankees, Knicks, Giants, whatever the case may be. We'll be talking about it. But again, I want to thank everybody who took the time to join me tonight. It means everything to me. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. Let's keep growing this thing. But I want to say, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your night. And I will see you right back here from the Wicker Chair. Good night, everybody.